Last night we were graced with the second episode of the second season of The Flash, Flash of Two Worlds. In it, we met both Jay Garrick and Patty Spivot, and we explored some trust issues. But let's get some other stuff out of the way first. There was copious amounts of flirting in this episode, with both Patty and Barry, and Jay and Caitlin getting in on the action. Although it was mostly Caitlin. It's nice to see Barry and Caitlin not completely hung up on, other people. If you think that it's too early for Caitlin to be flirting with some other guy, remember that not only has it been 6 months since Ronnie's death, but also this is the second time Ronnie has died, at least to Caitlin. I'm still not convinced that Ronnie is dead. He might be, but my belief is that he is on Earth 2, and his Earth 2 counterpart is very confused. I have a feeling that Joe was speaking for the vast majority of the audience last night when he was struggling with the whole multiverse thing. Yes, the writers did do a good job of boiling it down, but at the same time, there has to be at least a couple of viewers going, yeah, what? Which of course was Joe's reaction. Leave it to Victor Garber to break your heart. Those days are over. Oh. He says this after talking about how they have to put their heads together, but not literally. Stein's sadness over losing Ronnie makes you wonder if he wants to find Earth 2 so he can find Ronnie again. If Zoom keeps sending over these Earth 2 metas, their Earth 1 counterparts are going to be very confused, or wind up dead. It's going to make catching them very hard if Team Flash can only find the non-powered ones, like what happened last night. And then there's the question of what happens if both doppelgangers have abilities. I really hope that one happens. That's going to be fun to watch. We also found Cisco using his powers more willingly than before, which is to say was happening involuntary. Yet he doesn't want to really use them. Trust issues abound in this episode, but this really focused on Cisco not trusting himself. It's not anyone else, it's all about him. He doesn't want to use his powers because Wells gave them to him, and also Wells was a bad guy. Cisco's obviously afraid that these powers may be bad, may be evil, but Wells also gave Barry his speed, and Barry isn't a villain. Cisco just needs to trust himself. He should be a powerful ally to the Flash. Besides, as far as I can tell, Vibe is a good guy. With Cisco's abilities coming to the forefront, we have to wonder what's going on with the whole Caitlin thing. The particle accelerator probably definitely affected her. We did see Caitlin as Killer Frost in last season's finale, when Barry was racing around the particle accelerator. I just don't want it to be a back burner thing this season because we're dealing with Zoom. Thankfully, the tags at the end of the episode are back. I was afraid last week we were done with them since it didn't have one, but I'm glad to see them back. We learn in this tag that Harrison Wells is very much alive on Earth 2. But what role he plays in this episode is still a mystery. Is he good or bad? Does he have an agenda? Does he even know about Earth 1? At least we have an answer about how Tom Cavanaugh is going to be staying on in the show. I really was hoping he'd play Wells as a figment of Barry's imagination, haunting him, as it were. But as long as Tom is on the show, I'll take it. The theme of the episode was trust. Cisco not trusting himself was only a very small part. Most of the episode was about Barry not trusting Jay, but everyone else trusting him, which gave us some good conflict. Barry's last mentor turned out to be, evil, so I get it. But not only does Barry not trust Jay, everyone else seems to. Barry has to wonder how he's the only one, not trusting Jay after all they went through with Wells. Wells betrayed all of them, but Barry seems to be the only one with these issues. I'm counting on this not being the last of Barry's trust issues. Something that TV shows tend to do, especially those with higher stakes like this one, is gloss over these human issues like trust. You see it in one episode, but it never really comes back. They have to move on to tell bigger stories, but these kind of human issues, they ground the show in reality. It helps the show for us to remember that Barry is human first and the Flash second. Trust is one of those things we do as humans that can be pretty problematic. If you trust too much, you can get taken advantage of, but if you don't trust at all, well, that can cause problems too. If you're so guarded that you can't trust anyone, you just push people away. Not trusting people happens when trusting someone in the past caused you pain, which of course is what happened to our speedster hero. Barry trusted Wells and it backfired in a major way, and because of this he couldn't trust Jay Garrick. It's something we can all struggle with, finding the balance of trusting someone. Not too much, but also not too little. You have to Goldilocks it. Of course, when Barry finally did trust Jay, he was able to stop the bad guy and save the girl, which is what the show is about at its core. I do have one final question. Where is Earth 1's version of Jay Garrick? All in all, it was a pretty good episode. It wasn't as good as the premiere, but it was solid. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but I'm not at all worried about a sophomore slump. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.